UFC Fight Night, Kattar versus Emmett, full card prediction. Now, obviously, the main event, Calvin and Kattar, coming off a really good win over Giga Chikadze a few months ago, coming to fight Josh Emmett in his first main event. 5 rounds in the featherweight division. He got Lozon, Cerrone, Means, Holland, Daria, Buckley, Ismagulov, Dolidze, Julian, Marquez, Gregory, Rodrigues, Yanez, Kelley, Silva, Jasudavicius, Wells and McGee, Ramos and Chavez, Paula, Oliveira, Wineland, Stamann, Hawes, Winn, and Daukaus and Dolidze. A lot of very solid fights on this UFC Fight Night, but the one fight I am most looking forward to is going to be Damir Ismagulov, Guram Kattar, because both of those guys have very good potential to crack the top 10, top 5 of that UFC lightweight division. The other one, obviously, the main event. So, cannot wait for the card. 14 really solid fights on this card. But we're going to get into the first fight in the middleweight division in just a bit. But before that, make sure to go to the last 10 seconds, last 5 seconds of this video and click the Bird MMA logo on the left hand side to see all of my bets for this UFC fight night. But with all of that being said, let's go on to the UFC middleweight division. Daukaus and Roman Dolidze in the middleweight division. Now, Roman, 33, almost 34 years old, and it's tough because he kind of started MMA at sort of an older age. Started in 2016 when he was already like 26, 27 years old, but he did really good. Started with a 6-fight win streak, had a few fights get canceled over and over again. Then he went out there, TKO Kadesi Ibragimov, got a decision win over John Allen, got his first loss, but then he came back with a good win over Loreno Staropoli. But now, this is a really tough test. Daukaus only loses to legit guys inside the UFC, with only his 2 losses coming to Brendan Allen and Phil Hawes right there. He's beaten Dustin Stoltzfus, got a accidental headbutt with Kevin Hall, and then got a Darce choke on Jamie Pickett right there. So, let's talk advantages and disadvantages. Roman and Daukaus. Obviously, we know they both have really good wrestling, really good jiu-jitsu skills, of course. So I'm going to kind of give that as a stalemate. I can't really see Roman dominating Daukaus on the ground. Can't really see Daukaus dominating Roman Dolidze on the ground. So we're probably in for more of a grappler's striking fight, where we have 2 wrestlers and grapplers that are just going to strike it out for 3 straight rounds. And Roman, he might have the kicking advantage. He's got good body kicks, front kicks, leg kicks, and things like that. But what I was able to gather from the Daukaus Kevin Holland fight is Kyle has really been working on his striking. I mean, his left hooks, his right hooks were looking really good. His pressure was looking good. His power was definitely on point in that fight. So, fighting a guy here in Roman Dolidze, who, in my opinion, is a much worse striker than Daukaus, kind of got lit up against Trevin Giles on the feet every now and then in that fight. I can't really see Roman Dolidze winning the fight in the striking. And if there isn't really any room for Roman Dolidze to take down Daukaus, which is my belief, it's going to be a striking fight. Kyle's going to land the more powerful shots. He's going to land a lot more shots with his hands. And I am definitely leaning Daukaus to win this fight by a unanimous decision. Decent fight in the middleweight division. Phil Hawes and Deron Winn in the middleweight division. I mean, I've probably done this predictions like 3 or 4 times in the past. I keep on doing this prediction. This is the 3rd time, and I hope the fight doesn't get canceled again, because that just seems like what it keeps on happening. But Phil Hawes, 11 wins, 3 losses, beating ranked Nasruddin Imavov by decision, beating Daukaus by decision, and Jacob Malkoun by first round knockout, while only losing way back when in the WSOF Ultimate Fighter Dana White Contender Series days, back in 2017 and 2016. Since then, his striking has really improved. His wrestling has also definitely improved. And in a fight here with a guy like Deron Winn, only way Deron Winn is gonna win. Deron Winn's gonna win. I'm joking. The only way he's gonna win the fight is if he goes out there and just grinds out 3 rounds of wrestling, takes down Phil Hawes, and literally just controls him for 3 entire rounds. It's not going to happen. He's not going to go out there and control Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes is also a legit wrestler himself. I believe he was like a junior college champion for wrestling in like Colorado or Oregon or something like that. He's a legit wrestler on his own right as well. And striking-wise, we all know he's very, very solid as well. Putting on a really good striking fight with Nasruddin Imavov, knocking out Jacob Malkoun. So I think this fight is mainly going to be spent on the feet. Maybe Deron Winn can land 1 or 2 takedowns, but he's not going to control Phil Hawes there. And Phil Hawes having a half-foot height advantage over Deron Winn, and even more than that in reach, as 7.5 inches of a reach advantage. I mean, Deron Winn is going to keep on coming forward. He's going to eat the jabs, eat the right hooks, uppercuts, and all that type of stuff. And I think eventually he's going to get dropped. I think Phil Hawes in this fight is going to land a good shot on Deron Winn and knock him out. Deron Winn hasn't really been finished ever in his UFC career or in his whole entire career, if we're going to be looking at that. But the last time Phil Hawes went up against a straight-up wrestler was Jacob Malkoun, and he caught him in like 30 seconds, knocked him out in the very first round. I'm going to go that as my prediction. Phil Hawes in the first or second round by KO. Cody Stamann and Eddie Wineland in the bantamweight division. Now, of course, Wineland is going to be taller, he's going to be lengthier, but he is also going to be a lot older, and his wrestling is nowhere near Cody Stamann's. I mean, the UFC is clearly setting up for a good win for Cody Stamann, because right now, the only guys that Eddie Wineland has beaten anytime recently, they're all out of the UFC. I mean, every single one of the guys he's beaten is no longer in the UFC. Frankie Saenz, Takeya Mizugaki, Gregory Popov right there. None of them are in the UFC anymore, and all the guys that have beaten him, some of them really solid, Sean O'Malley, John Castaneda, John Dawson, Alejandro Perez, but again, none of those guys are wrestlers. He's never fought that guy that's been able to take him down over and over and over again. And this is the guy. Cody Stamann is clearly the guy the UFC is setting up to get a really, really easy win here in the bantamweight division. And yeah, I mean, he usually gets knocked out in a lot of his fights. Castaneda, O'Malley, didn't get knocked out in those fights right there, but it's not going to be a knockout this time around. Cody Stamann isn't really the type of guy to go out there and get a finish or anything like that. A lot of his losses are by submission or decision, and a lot of his wins are by decision. So I don't think we're going to see a finish in the fight. This is a clear fight goes to decision. Eddie Wineland's just going to get grinded out in the wrestling and grappling. Yeah, 96% going Stamann, mainly by decision. That's my exact prediction. I mean, it's a very easy one. I mean, there's not really much that has to go into my prediction here. It's just Wineland. He's old. He's fallen off his career a little bit recently, and the UFC clearly wants Stamann to get a nice dominant win to kind of build him up after those 3 losses to Rivera, Merab, and Said Nurmagomedov. So, of course, I'm going to go Cody Stamann by a unanimous decision. Gloria de Paula and Maria Oliveira in the women's strawweight division. Now, betting odds-wise is very, very interesting. I know a lot of you guys are looking at these odds and you're like, what in the world? Gloria de Paula is a 2.5 to 1 favorite, and they're still putting more money on Gloria de Paula. She started at minus 175, and money just kept on going in on Gloria de Paula. This is not a blowout victory for Gloria de Paula. This is a very, very close fight, in my opinion, because Maria Oliveira is going to be the lengthier girl. She has the kickboxing advantage. She's got very, very solid takedown defense. And there's a very good possibility Oliveira can literally just go out there, play the counter-punching role, land the kicks at range, and just land a little bit more volume than Gloria de Paula. Women's MMA split decision win for Maria Oliveira. That is a very, very legit possibility in this fight. And that is why what is up with the betting odds, in my opinion. So it's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. Gloria de Paula, her main way of winning is to land the more powerful shots and keep the volume even, because the way Maria Oliveira is going to win is going to tip-tap on the outside, land the kicks on the outside, and just edge out a decision. Again, that's not going to work if Gloria de Paula just keeps on putting on the pressure, lands those harder shots, and maybe can mix in some takedown attempts and some jiu-jitsu, some clinch work, and things like that. So It's a good fight. I think it's a lot closer than the betting odds because, again, it could literally go either way. Once the fight does go to a decision, which, of course, I do think the fight does go to a decision. But if we see any wrestling and grappling, it's probably going to be initiated by Gloria de Paula. But I'm going to be honest, Maria Oliveira's takedown defense didn't really look too bad against Jasudavicius. She was able to fend her off for like 3 to 4 minutes into that first round. And Jasudavicius, Gloria de Paula, they're not on the same level of wrestling. So I don't really think Gloria de Paula is going to be able to land those takedowns consistently throughout the fight, control Maria Oliveira on the ground, get a submission, TKO, whatever the case may be. She's not going to be able to do that against Oliveira, so most of this fight is going to be spent on the feet. Volume is going to be very even with a slight advantage to Maria Oliveira, and then the harder shots are going to get Gloria de Paula. So that is why my prediction is going towards Gloria de Paula, because she is a little bit more powerful. Volume isn't really that bad. I mean, she throws decent volume as well. And then she can maybe mix in some clinch, some control time, some knees in the clinch, and possibly a takedown. I mean, possibly she could land a takedown on Maria Oliveira. But overall, I mean, even though I do think it's a very, very close fight, the betting odds are still a little bit whack in my opinion. I am going to go Gloria de Paula to win the fight by a unanimous decision, laying in the harder shots, keeping volume even, mixing in the takedowns and a little bit of clinch work. Decent fight there in the women's strawweight division. Danny Chavez and Ricardo Ramos in the UFC featherweight division. Seems like a clear win to me, in my opinion. Ricardo Ramos has been very up and down in the UFC, getting like 1 win, getting 2 wins, then losing, getting 1 win, maybe 2 wins, then losing, getting 1 win, then losing. I mean, it's a very up and down start to his career inside the UFC. Started off very good. Decision, whatever, Michiniro Tanaka, knocked out Ayman Zahabi, beat Hyun Kong. Then he got knocked out pretty bad against Said Nurmagomedov, came back with 2 good wins, got knocked out pretty badly, came back with a decision win, then lost a decision after that. So he's very up and down in his UFC career. Now he's fighting Danny Chavez, which compared to the guys that he's been losing to is a big step down, because Zubair Tukhugov, right outside that top 15. Said Nurmagomedov, right outside the top 15. Lerone Murphy, right outside of the top 15. So there is nothing bad about Ricardo Ramos losing to these guys because they're all very, very legit in this UFC featherweight division. And come on, Ricardo's going to be 1 inch taller. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage in his hands. He's got more power. Volume-wise, he throws more volume in his hands as well. He's got a good kicking game at range, and he's got the better wrestling and grappling. I mean, I think this is a very clear win for Ricardo Ramos. Danny Chavez, yeah, he's got some good leg kicks, body kicks, and things like that, but he's not a finisher. He doesn't really have much to offer to go out there and knock out Ricardo Ramos. So Ricardo's not going to be really scared to come in the pocket and start trading with Danny Chavez, especially because Ricardo is going to have his power advantage himself. And yeah, I know Danny Chavez, I don't think has ever been finished, at least not in the UFC. Got guillotined by Jason Suarez right there, but I think this is a sort of a showcase type of fight for Ricardo Ramos. UFC wants him to win here. He's young, 26 years old, only losing to the very top tier level featherweights in the UFC. They're looking to get him a win, coming off a loss to Zubair Tukhugov. They're looking to get him a win, and I don't know if we're gonna see a finish here, because Ricardo Ramos is naturally a guy that goes out there looking for the finish a lot, the spinning back fist, the rear nakeds, and things like that. But Danny Chavez is a pretty tough guy. I think Ricardo's going to land the harder shots on the feet, land more shots on the feet, mix in some takedowns, and get an easy riding 30-27 unanimous decision there in the UFC featherweight division. Jeremiah Wells and Court McGee in the welterweight division. Now, you would think, based off of Jeremiah Wells just now joining the UFC and only having 2 fights in the promotion, you would think he might be like a young up-and-comer, like 28, 29 years old, something like that. No, he's actually 35 and a half years old, pretty similar to the age of Court McGee. And there's a crazy difference in experience from Court McGee and Jeremiah Wells. Just had to point that out because a lot of people seem to think that Jeremiah is in the prime of his MMA career when he's actually only 35 years old. Now let's talk advantages and disadvantages. Court McGee He's going to be 2 inches taller. He's going to have a little bit of a reach advantage. Advantage number 1 is going to be his experience. Number 2, I would say cardio. He's got a really, really good cardio and a really, really good gas tank. And he doesn't get finished. I mean, Ryan LaFleur, Ben Saunders, Sean Strickland, Diego Lima, Brady, Condit. None of these guys were able to go out there and finish him. The only guy was Santiago Ponzinibbio right there. That is the only guy in his entire career to go out there and knock him out. If there's another guy able to knock out Court McGee, I'm gonna be honest with you, it is Jeremiah Wells. This dude throws every single shot with bad intention. Look at the last fight with Warlley Alves. Nearly knocked him out in the first round, took him down, grinded him, landed some really good ground pound. Second round goes out there, catches him big with a right hook, lands a bunch of ground pound. I mean, this dude is ferocious on the feet. He has power, and his cardio really isn't that bad. I do give the cardio advantage to Court McGee, but the cardio of Jeremiah Wells still looked good. I mean, after the first round, where he was throwing everything with a reckless abandonment, he looked good in the second round as well, was still able to throw at that same intensity. Now, third round is a different story. We haven't really seen him go to that third round too much in his MMA career so far, so I do believe the fight is going to go to a decision. McGee's really tough. He does not get finished all too often. And Jeremiah, I think, is going to land those big shots on the feet early, defend whatever takedowns come from Court McGee. And Jeremiah Wells is going to land the bigger shots on the feet in the first and second round. Outstrike Court McGee in the first and second round. Then he's going to start to gas a little bit there. Court McGee is going to put on that Court McGee pressure into that third round. Land some takedowns, land some ground and pound and things like that. And I think we're going to be looking at a 29-28 decision win for Jeremiah Wells. It's close, though. I mean, it is an extremely, extremely close fight, especially when you're putting a guy that you don't know when he's going to gas. He throws everything into his shots. He could gas in the first round, and second round, or third round. I don't know. But I know that his coaches, and I know Jeremiah Wells, know that Court McGee has a good gas tank and is very, very good in those later rounds. So I assume they're gonna try to preserve a little bit of Jeremiah Wells' gas tank in the early rounds. And I think he wins the first round, wins the second round. You gas out a little bit towards the end of the fight. It's only natural with an explosive athlete like Jeremiah Wells. So overall, my prediction is a 29-28 decision win for Jeremiah Wells. Really good fight in the welterweight division. Jasmine Jasudavicius and Natalia Silva in the women's flyweight division. We got the new age right here. 12 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. Losing, you might remember some of these names, to Marina Rodrigues right there. Diana Firmino, Kenya Miranda. A lot of these girls I don't really know too much about, but one of them being Marina Rodrigues, who she lasted with for a full entire 3 rounds. She's a grappler. We all know that. I mean, based off all of her last, 6 wins, 7 wins. I mean, I think every single one of them has been by armbar. It is just absolutely insane, the submission ability that Natalia Silva does have. But we also know that Jasmine Jasudavicius is a really good wrestler and grappler herself. Going out there, landing some good takedowns on Kay Hansen, grinding out to a decision, landing really good ground and pound as well. Then Julie Palestri kind of doing the exact same thing. In the striking, I'm clearly going to give the advantage to Jasmine Jasudavicius. Wrestling, we're also going to give the advantage to Jasmine Jasudavicius. Grappling, yeah, we'll give the advantage to Natalia Silva, but that's only if Jasmine takes the fight to the ground, which we know she kind of does that in a lot of her other UFC fights. She likes to go for the takedowns and grind to a decision and land some really good ground and pound. I really, really highly doubt she's going to want to do that type of game plan against a fighter of Natalia Silva's grappling pedigree. So I expect more of a striking fight here. I expect Natalia to be pressuring forward, looking to somehow get the fight to the ground. But we all know Jasmine's a lot better of a wrestler. She's not going to take down Jasmine Jasudavicius in this fight. And I do think Jasmine will keep the fight on the feet, use her height, use her length, use a lot of movement on the feet, land some volume, land the harder shots, land more shots, and maybe with 45 seconds, 50 seconds left in the round, then she'll probably go for a takedown, land a few ground and pound shots, and then just kind of win the rounds that way. So I'm going to go Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think she wins every single round in this women's flyweight division. Only way Natalia wins is by submission. I don't think that's going to happen. Jasmine's going to outstrike her for the first 4 minutes of every single round, then take her down just to kind of secure the round on the judges' scorecards. My prediction is Jasmine at Jasudavicius by a unanimous decision. Adrian, Yanez, and Tony Kelley in the UFC bantamweight division. Adrian Yanez, a very, very bright prospect, 28 years old, undefeated in the UFC. All of his wins coming by knockout, except for Davy Grant. And it's tough to finish a guy like Davy Grant, so we'll give him a pass there. But knocking out Randy Costa, Gustavo Lopez, and Victor Rodrigues. Also knocking out Brady Huang on a Dana White's Contender Series. Tony Kelley knocking out Randy Costa, getting a decision win on Ali Al-Casey, and a loss to Kai Kamaka III right there. Only way I can really see Tony Kelley winning this fight is if Adrian Yanez either gasses out, or if by some means Tony Kelley is able to land the takedown and grind the fight on the grounds, which I don't see happening. I mean, Tony Kelley's not going to be able to go out there and take down Adrian Yanez consistently throughout the fight. Adrian has a really good hips, really good takedown defense. The fight will stay on the feet, and Adrian Yanez is going to have the power advantage. He's going to have the volume advantage. Tony's going to be pressuring forward. Adrian is just going to use his Jorge Masvidal boxing to kind of bait Tony Kelley to come in, land the left hooks, uppercuts, overhand rights. I mean, the hooks, the combinations of Adrian Yanez, it's not just one right hand, not just one left hook. It is a combination. Left hook, uppercut, overhand left. I mean, he's throwing all sorts of combinations with really, really big shots, and all looking for the knockout. Every shot Yanez is throwing is sort of looking for that kill shot, in my opinion. So, Tony Kelley is not the type of guy to get knocked out. He didn't get knocked out by Kevin Aguilar or Kai Kamaka III. So, I do think the fight will go to a decision, but I think Tony Kelley is going to be bloodied up after this fight. Going to be rocked many times in the fight, but it's going to be fight of the night. Adrian Yanez, Tony Kelley, it is for sure, in my opinion, bound to be a fight of the night clash in this UFC bantamweight division. And I think Adrian Yanez is just going to land the harder shots, land more shots, and yeah, Kelley's boxing is decent, but kicking game, yeah, he might have the advantage there. Good body kicks, good leg kicks, and things like that. He's not going to do anything. The damage that Tony's going to do with the body kicks and with the leg kicks is going to be non-existent in the fight. And wrestling is not going to take him down. So, have the fight going all the way. Tony's going to eat a lot of big shots. He's going to survive. Fight to go to a decision. Adrian Yanez by a unanimous decision. A really good fight in the UFC bantamweight division. Julian Marquez and Gregory Rodrigues in the UFC middleweight division. Now, this is one fight where we got to look at Julian Marquez's takedown defense, because it is not good. Maki Batolo able to take him down 5 times. Alessio De Chirico able to take him down 4 times. Darren Stewart able to take him down 4 times right there. Now, that is not a good sign, especially going against a jiu-jitsu practitioner in Gregory Robocop Rodrigues. Not a good sign that you're getting taken down too often, but even though he's a good jiu-jitsu guy, he's got really good wrestling and grappling and things like that, even though he's very, very good on the ground, he has definitely fell in love with his hands. I mean, Al Mataveo knockout, Josh Frem knockout, Junior Park knockout, looking for the knockout at every moment against Armin Petrosian. I mean, the man has fell in love with his hands for sure. And in terms of striking with Gregory Rodrigues and Julian Marquez, I would say it's about even. They both have that finishing instinct to land big shots and look for the knockout. They're both pretty even on the feet. So in terms of striking, power, speed, volume, all that good stuff, I say it's kind of a stalemate in that regard, because Gregory is a very good, powerful fighter. He likes to get your back to the cage and just start trading with you. I mean, he's very powerful. His chin is a little iffy. He does get knocked down in a lot of his fights, but I don't think that Gregory Rodrigues is going to knock out Julian Marquez. Julian has been known to tough it out from those big shots. Never been finished in his amateur or professional MMA career. So I think Gregory is going to land the harder shots on the feet. He's going to use those shots that kind of lure Julian Marquez in, because, again, the only real way I see Julian Marquez winning is to use that Cuban Missile Crisis, come forward, throw just humongous shots, and look for the knockout on Gregory Rodrigues. But again, if he does that, if he's trying to close that height and reach of Gregory Rodrigues, he's gonna eat a takedown. I mean, Gregory Rodrigues hasn't really gone for too many takedowns in his UFC career, but it seems like the easiest game plan right here against Julian Marquez that gets taken down in pretty much every single fight. I think he's gonna walk into a lot of takedowns here against Gregory. Again, striking is gonna be very even, but with the takedowns of Gregory Rodrigues mixed in there as well, I'm going to have to go Gregory to win the fight by a decision here. It's either a decision or a submission. I don't see Gregory knocking out Julian Marquez. I could maybe see him get in the back of Julian Marquez and submitting him, but overall, my official prediction for Rodrigues and Marquez is Gregory landing pretty even amount of strikes on the feet. As Marquez comes forward, he's going to land the takedowns, control the fight on the ground, attempt some submissions, ground and pound a little bit, and I got Gregory Rodrigues winning this fight by a unanimous decision. Damir Ismagulov and Guram Kutateladze in the UFC lightweight division. Now, it's a good fight. I mean, both guys right here, I clearly see being top 15 caliber. I mean, they're already top 15 caliber, and I think both of them have a very legit shot of going out there and beating guys like Conor McGregor, Drew Dober. I mean, plenty of guys in the UFC lightweight division these two can beat. But we gotta talk advantages and disadvantages, because when you get two guys that are so even in so many different aspects of the fight, you gotta fight those slight advantages that really are gonna make the difference in a fight like this in the UFC lightweight division. So, advantage number one, wrestling. Who has the advantage in terms of the wrestling, the takedowns, the ground and pound, and all that good stuff is going to be Damir Ismagulov. I believe he is going to be the better wrestler, the better grappler. Not enough to finish Guram Kutateladze. He's just going to kind of control the fight in the ground position, just ground and pound, maybe attempt some submissions and things like that. But I definitely give the advantage there to Damir Ismagulov. In terms of finishing ability, I would go Guram Kutateladze. I believe he has more of a chance to get a finish in this fight than Damir Ismagulov, as he does have some really good power in his hands. And Damir Ismagulov, we saw him get rocked against Chavez in that last fight. So there's a good possibility Guram can just start throwing big shots and rock Damir Ismagulov and maybe even knock him out, as he did against Matthews Gamrot in their fight. So power goes Guram Kutateladze, wrestling and grappling goes Damir Ismagulov. Volume in terms of the striking, I'm gonna go Damir Ismagulov as well. Even shows on the UFC stats about double, almost double, not nearly double, but almost to that realm of being double right there. Same striking accuracy, pretty similar striking defense right there, but again, more takedowns, better wrestling, better grappling, and a lot more volume on the feet. So, with a fight like this, it's very hard to distinguish what's going to happen here, because first off, Guram has not fought in a year and a half. That's the first thing we got to look at, because, I don't know, maybe Guram Kutateladze's wrestling is now better than Damir Ismagulov. I don't know what he's been training during that a year and a half break from the UFC octagon. He could have gotten significantly better. He could be the best fighter in the world for all I know. I don't know, man. He has not fought in such a long time. But from what I know of Guram and from what I know of Damir Ismagulov as of right now, I think Damir is going to land a little bit more shots on the feet. Guram is going to keep it pretty even by landing the harder shots on the feet. Then Damir is going to use some clinch work, some wrestling, some grappling, mix in some takedowns, and win the fight by very close 29-28 decision. But again, you can't really take like a too confident prediction right here, especially when you got a guy in Guram that trains nonstop and that has not fought in a year and a half. Again, we don't know what he's going to look like. I mean, Damir hasn't fought in a year, and before that, 2.5 years. So again, these guys are not the most active fighters in this lightweight division. They could have improved drastically since their last fight, but from what I know, I'm going to go Damir Ismagulov by a unanimous decision. Joaquin Buckley and Albert Duraev in the UFC middleweight division, 33.5 years old and 28 years old. Similar height and similar reach with only a 1-inch difference in both. Now, Let's talk advantages and disadvantages. Albert obviously is going to have the wrestling advantage. He's a Russian, of course. He's going to go out there looking to throw some big shots on the feet and look for the takedown. If you look at how he wins a lot of his fights, is literally get in the fight down, get in the rear naked, neck crank, triangle choke, north-south choke. That's the way this guy wins a lot of his fights, but he gets finished a lot. First round knockout loss to Ramazan Ameev, who's on the card this weekend, knocked out against Anatoly Tokov. And that is about it. All 3 losses are by TKO early on in his career. A lot of his wins are by submission right there. So I have no doubt. I mean, the fight's not going to go to a decision, guys. I mean, you pair up Albert the Raev, a really, really legit wrestler and grappler. He's got a good chance of winning the fight. Abdulrazak Al-Hassan was able to go out there, land some takedowns on Joaquin Buckley. So I did just say there's no chance the fight goes to a decision, but there is a small chance. I mean, maybe the Raev just kind of takes him down and grinds out a decision right there. But I would assume if Albert the Raev wants to get this win, he's probably going to be wanting to get that finish. But so does Joaquin Buckley. And Joaquin having that power advantage, getting a lot of his opponents' backs to the cage, and just starting to throw with reckless abandonment, just starting to throw bombs and look for the knockout. I'm going to have to go Joaquin Buckley to win right here. So it is 50-50. I think the odds, honestly, should be like -110, -110. Two things happen. Either Albert the Raev goes out there, takes down Joaquin Buckley, gets his back, gets a rear naked, maybe even grinds him out to a decision, or Joaquin uses his explosiveness, uses his strength to defend the takedowns of Albert the Raev, get his back to the cage, and just start throwing hooks, start throwing uppercuts, overhand rights. We saw that Albert the Raev got hurt a little bit in the last fight with Roman Kopylov. His face is all bloody and things like that. So my prediction here in the UFC middleweight division is Joaquin Buckley in the second round. First round is going to be pretty rough for Albert the Raev, in my opinion. But second round, I think Joaquin will find his mark and knock out Albert the Raev. It's going to be a good fight. Got a good prospect that's surprisingly older than Joaquin Buckley, but I'm going to go Joaquin Buckley by TKO in the second rounds. Tim Means and Kevin Holland in the UFC welterweight division. So, 38-year-old Tim Means, a little bit smaller and a heck of a lot less lengthy than Kevin Holland right there. He's a live underdog. He is 100% a live underdog to win this fight. He's beaten really decent guys. Thiago Alves by submission, Ricky Rainey by TKO, Mike Perry, Nicholas Dalby, plenty of guys, but he also loses a lot to good guys as well. Bilal Muhammad, Sergio Moraes, Nico Price, and Daniel Rodrigues. All of these guys either inside of the top 15 or right outside of the top 15. So I agree. This is a very, very tough test for Kevin Holland, just now joining the welterweight division. He did get one win over Alex Oliveira, but he had to kind of go through a little bit of adversity in that fight. Now, for this fight right here with Tim Means, it's going to be tough. Tim Means doesn't get finished too often in his career, and the way he does get finished is usually by submission. So I do have, if the fight goes to a decision, I think Kevin Holland would, I do think this fight will go to a decision. If there is a finish, I think it would be Kevin Holland in this fight, given his power advantage, or maybe even a doctor stoppage from Tim Dirty Bird Means with those elbows. But overall, I think the fight goes to a decision. A lot of people are here saying Holland by knockout. Nah, he's not going to knock out Tim Means. Tim Means is a very durable guy, doesn't get finished all too often, so I see the fight going all the way. Tim Means is looking to pressure forward on Kevin Holland, get his back to the cage, do what he always does, laying those little tip-tap shots at range, tip-tap, 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 kind of pull down on the head of Kevin Holland, land some elbows, some uppercuts, and really just try to slice on the face of Kevin Holland, maybe even mix in some wrestling and grappling as well, and that is the main way I see Tim Means winning the fight, taking the fight down, getting the fight to the clinch, elbowing, laying knees, and things like that. That is how Tim Dirty Bird Means wins a lot of his fights, and that's how he's going to win this one as well. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. But again, he's still super live. This is such a close fight in the welterweight division because, yeah, Tim Means could get a doctor stoppage. Maybe cuts right under the eyelid with an elbow on Kevin Holland. It's very possible. But overall, my prediction is going to be Kevin Holland. I think he's that taller, lengthier opponent that Tim Means hasn't really faced in his UFC career too often. And Holland's going to be moving on the feet, looking jabbing, using that Michael Venom Page kind of strategies, jab, as Tim Means means looking to put on the pressure, right hook, and just get out of the pocket right after that. So I think Holland's going to be playing more of a counter puncher type of role. Team Means is going to be playing that pressure puncher type of role, and Holland's going to land a lot of big shots on the counters and win the fight by decision. But again, super close fight. I'm going to go Kevin Holland by a decision right there. 29-28 on all judges' scorecards. Donald Cerrone and Joe Lozon in the lightweight division. We already did this prediction. It was a little while ago for the UFC 266 card. I believe that's the card it was on, but it's been scheduled so many different times. 274, I mean, sorry about that. But it's been scheduled a lot, and it just keeps on getting canceled over and over and over again. But finally, hopefully, we get to see the fight. Lozon going out there, fighting some decent guys and beating some very, very decent guys. TKO and Jonathan Pierce right there. Losing to Clay Guida, Chris Gretschmacher, losing to Stevie Ray, but beating some decent guys. Michael Chiesa, Takanori Gomi, Diego Sanchez, and Marcin Held. Now he's going to be fighting Donald Cerrone, who's also not doing too good recently. Losing to Alex Morono, Anthony Pettis, McGregor, Gaethje, Ferguson. I mean, these are legit guys. I mean, 3 of the guys are in that top 10 of the UFC lightweight division. One of them is in the PFL. The other one is climbing up the welterweight division ranking. So none of the guys he's losing to are bad fighters by any means, but he has been finished in pretty much every single one of those fights. Now, let's talk advantages and disadvantages for Joe Lozon and Donald Cerrone. Wrestling-wise, we're going to go Lozon. He's got the better wrestling, got the better takedowns, ground and pound, submission skills, all of that good stuff. But Donald Cerrone, in my opinion, is just going to outstrike him on the feet. He's a much better striker. He's 2 inches longer in reach. In height, he's 3 inches taller than Joe Lozon as well. So I think we're going to see vintage Donald Cerrone go out there, defend the takedowns of Joe Lozon, keep the fight at range, then the body kicks, the head kick, and just counterpunch Joe Lozon for 3 rounds. Veteran versus veteran, we usually see the fight go to a decision. So I think the fight will go to a decision. Lozon will have his moments. He'll win at least one of the rounds with his wrestling, with his grappling, ground and pound, and things like that. But 2 rounds, I got going Donald Cerrone. Just a better striker. He's taller, lengthier, has the kicking advantage, has the boxing advantage, and things like that. So I'm going to go Donald Cerrone. I think he outstrikes Joe Lozon for 2 out of 3 rounds in the UFC lightweight division. Donald Cerrone by a unanimous decision. Calvin Kattar and Josh Emmett in the UFC featherweight division. In terms of age, I mean, there's a little bit of an advantage for Calvin Kattar right there, but that's not really something we need to look at for Calvin Kattar and Josh Emmett, because neither of them show any signs of declining in their MMA careers. Height is going to go Calvin Kattar, and reach is going to go Calvin Kattar, and that is a very, very significant thing for sure, to have the height and reach on a power puncher like Josh Emmett, because the fights that Josh Emmett has had recently that he's been able to win, a lot of them were against guys that are good strikers himself, Michael Johnson, Mirsad Bektik, Shane Burgos, and Dane Ige, but none of them were really that tall as Calvin Kattar, that lengthy as Calvin Kattar, and with the boxing credentials of Calvin Kattar as well. So it's a good fight. 85% going Kattar, which is crazy in my opinion. Emmett is such a live dog in this main event spot right here, but 5 rounds is a lot. 5 rounds is a lot of time for a guy like Josh Emmett to get this win. If he's going to win, it's going to be by knockout. Michael Johnson win, the Mirsad Bektik win. He's going to have to land something big in this fight. Catch Calvin Kattar and knock him out. That's the only way I really see Josh Emmett winning this fight, because 5 rounds with Calvin Kattar, man, it's not going to go well. We saw what 5 rounds did to Giga Chikadze. Giga did not look like himself. I mean, it wasn't because Giga's a bad fighter or anything. It's because 5-round Calvin Kattar not fighting Max Holloway is a very, very legit guy. And against Josh Emmett, man, the only time Kattar really has to worry about Josh Emmett is early on in the fight. 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round. That's the only real time. After that is deep water for Josh Emmett, something that Josh Emmett has never experienced in that 4th and 5th round in a 5-round UFC main event. But is he going to knock him out? No. I mean, Max Holloway landed, what, like 500, 600 strikes? I mean, it was something crazy. Was not able to knock him out. Zabit landed some big shots. Wasn't able to knock him out. Calvin Kattar just seems like that guy that is kind of immune to getting knocked out. He's a very, very durable guy. I mean, every single loss of his, none of them has been by knockout. Let's go right here. All by four by decision, 1 by submission. So it's going to be a tough task for Josh Emmett to go out there and get a knockout. I doubt it's going to happen. I see the fight going all the way to a decision. Calvin Kattar just doing what he always does, staying at range, playing the counter-punching game, jabbing, 1-2ing, jabbing, 1-2ing, staying at range, moving around the octagon, staying away from the power right hands of Josh Emmett. I'm going to go Calvin Kattar by a unanimous decision. Really good fight in the UFC featherweight division. Alright, that is my full card prediction. I got Calvin Kattar, I got Donald Cerrone, I got Kevin Holland, Joaquin Buckley, Damir Ismagulov, I got Gregory Rodrigues, I got Adrian Yanez, Jasmine Jasudavicius, I got Jeremiah Wells, Ricardo Ramos, Gloria, Paula, Cody, Stamann, Phil Hawes, and Kyle Daukaus. Those are the full card predictions. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure if you're in the last 5 to 10 seconds of this full card prediction, make sure to look somewhere on your screen and look to the left side of that screen to see the Burt MMA logo. Click on that one. For only $3 a month, you'll get all of my UFC, Bellator, PFL, and overall just all of my MMA bets for only 10 cents a day for an entire month. Make sure to click that one. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Let's go.